Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 4 of What If Naruto Was the Monkey King's son Wukong, guys. Remember to get this one too 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new episodes over in the other channels if you're new. Yes, that's correct guys, I indeed have 4 more channels which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. I'll be leaving the links down in the description, so go ahead and obliterate that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And don't forget to turn on the bell notification to see exactly when I post, because I do post a hell of a lot. So without further ado or wasting more time, how about we jump right into this? Let's begin now guys. So the last part that we left off, Naruto returned back to the village before Jiraiya. Upon returning there, the guards at the gate stopped him. Soon after, the envoys arrived, as they had seen something whipping by them, something so fast that they could not keep up with. As Naruto's intention was to see if the strength of Konoha had lessened or increased over the past couple of years. As he was going to fight them, he was going to fight them all. However, Jiraiya arrived, using that toad to get to the location much faster, stopping the battle from occurring as they headed towards the office, where Hiruzen was able to see Naruto after all these years. As they started to talk, Naruto informed him about what he heard and what was planning, and what Orochimaru planned to do to the Hidden Leaf Village. He told him that his sole purpose of being back is because he wanted to test himself against a Sannin. He already fought Jiraiya here, but the man was not giving it his all despite his loss. Naruto believed there was something that he was holding back. After all, he could see the nature energy that was aligned with his body, but yet he wasn't using it at all. Aside from that though, the battle was a bit entertaining, so he let it slide. Hiruzen said that he wouldn't allow Naruto to leave, as Naruto was back home, and after finding out that Naruto was framed by the daimyo that he supposedly massacred his family just because they used him, and Naruto allowed this to go on because it brought him challenging people to fight. A rather crazy statement if one might ask. However, Naruto showed why that none of them could stop him, easily disarming all of them as he jumped through the window and flew off. They set a trap for him to lure him out. The Akatsuki members Kisame, Konan and Itachi arrive on the scene. Hearing that he was formerly from Konoha, Itachi was confused on who this was. He put it together soon enough though, but this was confusing because how was he this old? His age made no sense. A battle ensued between Naruto and Kisame. The short man believed that he could take Naruto on, let alone by himself, was a big misunderstanding on his part, as Naruto showed him why he was the world's strongest. Well, granted he hasn't truly achieved that title until he defeat all the strong individuals that was in this world. Their battle caused cataclysmic destruction to the forest, as Kisame pulled out his strongest technique and Naruto enlarged himself. Naruto became so big that Kisame was just a droplet in his hand. He then crushed him into nothingness. The other two forced him to flee away. Naruto picked Samehata up restraining the blade with a piece of hair that he turned into a rope. locking it away as he brought it back to Kiri. Mei was surprised once again. He demolished all of her expectations, as she had a really good idea, something that would be beneficial for her village. Keep someone like this very close, because as far as she could see, all he desired was good food and a good battle. He didn't really focus on much other. So yes, she would keep someone as powerful as this nearby. Some time passed as the invasion began on Konoha. Hiruzen had made a rather crafty move, however. Gaara was pretty unstable, and he was still seeking destruction. As he headed towards the forest, however, luckily Jiraiya was there to handle that. As for Naruto, he showed up a bit late, flying in on his cloud because he had other arrangements. While that was going on, the members of the Akatsuki had regrouped, as the leader of the organization was told everything. It turns out that someone extremely powerful was out there, and no one knew about him. Granted, they knew that he was a S rank, however, his level of strength came as a rather shocking realization, as Conan told the leader everything. Meanwhile, Naruto descended upon the area. Wasting no time, Naruto used his staff, as he literally broke right through, shattering chakra like it was glass. Upon entering, Naruto created a special weapon from his hair, which he used to teleport Hiruzen outside. Now all and everything was there for him to take. Orochimaru along with the first and second Hokage, as they descended upon Naruto, as he twirled his staff and descended upon them. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself, and also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other What Ifs or the other channels. Yes, if you're new, I indeed have 4 more channels which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. All the links will be down in the description, so go ahead, check them out and enjoy. So without further ado, how about we begin this now guys? We begin this new episode with Hiruzen Sarutobi as he found himself outside of the dome. He cursed at Naruto's willingness to take everything on by himself. Granted, his strength and speed was truly impressive, however, these were no normal foes. This was the first and second Hokage, his teachers. He more than any here knew their strength. However, this dome was extremely powerful, and the time that it would take any efforts of getting inside was time that he didn't have. Hiruzen brought his hand together and created a shadow clone to remain by the dome while he took charge of the situation and prevent any more deaths from happening within the hidden leaf. As he jumped, he saw the massive beast rose up within the far distance. The next moment though, it was viciously attacked by the mighty Gamabunta, as Jiraiya was on the case. Meanwhile, inside of the dome, Orochimaru was furious as he just watched his chance of ending Hiruzen Sarutobi went through the goddamn window. However, he knew who this was. He heard the rumors after all. The one that had reached S-rank status in an alarming rate, popping out of nowhere. Why was he here? The Sannin saw his intentions though, as he sick the first and second Hokage upon him like ravaged animals. The first Hokage blurred through hand sign, creating a massive armada of trees. They shoot towards Naruto like rockets. However, he showed off his special agility as he evaded every single one of them at speeds that they could not catch. Right behind him though, the second released a powerful jet of water that ripped through the trees as Naruto had moved, just to show the density and level of compression that the water possessed. The second tilted itself in mid-air as Naruto's staff whipped past him. He thought that he had gotten away, however, Naruto arrived on the tip of said staff, before dropping his heel in the second's face. His body crashed through the foliage before slamming down on the roof. Naruto snapped his gaze up as Hoshirama was finishing his hand signs. The entire area was swarmed by branches to ensnare Naruto. However, he spun his staff with such a violent and quick force that it reduced the massive branches to twigs. As they landed, the first came right at him as the second, recovered, came from behind. Naruto raised both of his hands as their fists slammed into his hands. He simply smiled as he grabbed them and twirled and launched them. He met them in mid-air as he started to trade blows. His bare hands, the violent force from their fists, started to cause miniature shock waves. The problem was that the Sannin quickly noticed their hands were breaking apart. The reanimation was breaking and folding under the strain of the strength that Son Naruto possessed. Orochimaru was starting to get worried. While he knew that he was powerful, this was just getting ridiculous. As for Naruto, he was having fun as he traded blows with both Hokage, their fists clashing against one another. Various of attacks being launched towards him. He crushed and eviscerated them with his bare hands alone. When he spun his staff, the violent winds that were picked up were enough to knock away the water jutsu or the forest that was sent his way. Orochimaru was biding his time as he was waiting on the perfect opportunity. Kusanagi blade in hand, the Sannin saw it. He sprung forward, his blade extending to pierce directly through Naruto's heart to end him right here and now. However, at speeds that the Sannin was not able to keep up with, Naruto flipped over him as his blade punctured through the first Hokage. Orochimaru felt the pressure as Naruto's staff slammed into his back. He felt his spine shatter. Immediately, he opened his mouth as I knew Orochimaru jumped through. Good thing that he did, because upon landing behind the Sannin, Naruto had swung his staff with an obscene amount of force. Orochimaru's former body was ripped to shreds. The powerful Kusanagi blade shattered like glass. The first Hokage was blown apart. Naruto was now standing on top of his staff as the second Hokage was recovering over to the side as well. Orochimaru stood there, mortified at what he just witnessed, as he was vastly shocked by this unbelievable force and strength that he was currently up against. I knew there was something that you had to do to augment your strength in ways to make you more powerful. I tend to notice that the darker members tend to do more darker stuff, even to themselves as well. However, hiding and waiting to attack, that is rather dishonorable of you, wouldn't you say? Not that I focus much on that, however. I expected someone of your caliber to fight me head on, and yet you've proven to be nothing but a disappointment. I intended to end your life a moment ago, but you spared your life by escaping. I assure you though, it won't happen a second time, said Naruto. He tilted his head, dodging the powerful blow from the second as he slammed the back of his hand into the second face, completely blowing it off. Naruto then plucked out a hair of his. The hair started to glow as he twirled it around himself. This wasn't your average hair plucking, as it transformed into a chain, a golden chain that he had in his hand. It twirled around him as he whipped it around, a golden aura oozing off of it. If there was any thoughts that he wasn't from this world or he didn't have a previous life before, this would confirm it, that he did have one. He had vague recollections that he was gifted this chain. However, he could not make it out clearly. Who gave him the chain he did not fully know. However, he knew the purpose of said chain. Naruto wrapped it around the second Hokage, the golden chain mill. As the chain did not wrap around his physical form, however, it wrapped around his very soul. It was easier to wrap around a soul that was not truly tethered to a body because this soul did not tether to this body at all. When Naruto yanked on it, the body immediately turned into dust, revealing the real person that Orochimaru killed for the technique. A brutal right hook from the first Hokage. It slammed into Naruto's palm as Naruto pulled him down and slammed his knee into his stomach. He flipped over him and wrapped the chain around his neck as he yanked downwards. The soul of the second Hokage slammed into the soul of the first as the both of them flew through the back of the body, now entangled. Confusion written on their faces. What is this? What's going on? The first Hokage said, confused. We've been bound in our spiritual form. I never thought something like that could be possible. The second Hokage said, having been the one to create the Edo Tensei, binding a soul without tethering it to a body was virtually impossible from what he saw, but it seems like time has changed a lot. Orochimaru started to freak out after witnessing what he just witnessed as he felt his control completely vanish. You two have brought me great entertainment, said Naruto. However, your strength was truly lacking. It seems his technique was not 100%. Another disappointment I'm facing today. Another reason why he must fall. I truly hate to be disappointed. However, you two have given me a bit of what I desire, and for that, I shall send you both off. Naruto said, relinquishing the chain, as it simply vanished. The both of their souls immediately shot off, completely vanishing away. When Naruto turned, a model of snakes started to overwhelm him. As they overtook him, the Sannin shouted at the Sound 4 as the barrier dropped. The third clone immediately poofed away, sending the information back to the original. However, Orochimaru had great knowledge of the structure within the Hidden Leaf Village, able to bypass several areas really quickly, not to mention using even his own people, the Cannon Father, as distraction. That was until, on the same roof that he was once on, a flame shoot into the heavens, turning all of his snakes into dust. Orochimaru was not going to stand around to see the outcome of that, as him and the Sound 4 started to flee the village. However, the moment they broke through, as they were heading into the foliage, they heard a whistle. Jirobo glanced up as the other members turned. Jirobo saw something coming down. He thought, with his augmented strength, it was something that he could block, despite the other members scattering. He brought his arm up. When the staff hit him though, his bones collapsed in on itself. His body broke and crumbled under the weight, reducing him to a smudge on the ground. 3 arrows were instantly shot towards Naruto. He grabbed 2 of them as he bit down on the last one, stopping it with his teeth. Naruto twirled so fast that his body turned into a literal tornado. Said 3 arrows shot out at blinding speed. Tayuya raised her flute. However, the flute fell out of her hand the next moment, as one of the arrows went directly through her skull. As for the wielder of the arrows, Kidamaru, an arrow slammed into his chest and one into his skull. He died with a shocked look on his face, as he could not even see them. The final member of the Sound 4, Seikon, tried to ground himself as the tornado was sucking him in. Orochimaru had took off, leaving them behind. The moment the battle started, he took off, believing that it would buy him some time. As powerful as he was, he realized that this was something that he just could not handle. So yes, he took off. As for Seikon, he found himself surrounded by copies of the same person. That is when said copies transform and turn into him, his eyes widen in shock. As for Orochimaru, he moved across the trees at his fastest, his legs barely touching them before he shoots off to another one at blinding speed. However, even at the speed that he was going, he saw a mass encompassing shadow. It was growing bigger and bigger. The Sannin eyes widened. Naruto's staff that had grown at least 10 times its original size ripped into the earth. Orochimaru twisted out of the way. However, even after doing that, Naruto's heel cracked his face, literally fracturing his skull. Once again he emerged from his body, only for Naruto's shrunken staff to crash under his chin, shattering every teeth in his mouth. He wasn't done yet as he grabbed the Sannin by the leg and twirled him before. Naruto hit him so hard that Orochimaru stopped hearing for a moment. He even stopped seeing. He went blind, deaf and dumb at once. When he finally regained his senses, he was within a deep trench. Every single bone in his body was shattered. His body was like jelly. Orochimaru looked up as Naruto was descending from the heavens, and this time his staff was glowing. The Sannin eyes widened. When Naruto's staff hit Orochimaru, quarter of the forest was wiped off the face of the earth. The earth split open. A trench. A violent tremor went through the entire land of fire. Windows shatter. Buildings creak and crack slightly. It was violent. Catastrophic as a violent backlash washed over the entire land of fire and swept over Konoha, clothing the entire place in dust and smoke. As Naruto stood there, when suddenly he started to look around, gazing towards the area in front of him. Naruto cleared the distance before a second. He reached into the ground and ripped something out of the earth. It was a creature with a phoenix flytrap on its head. The bones tried to clamp around his hand, however, Naruto shattered them like they were nothing. I've been disappointed once today. I knew that you were following me for some time. I figured that, whatever you are, whatever you seek, it would be something entertaining, but this recent disappointment has brought me nothing but a waste of my time. I figured that my battle with the Sannin would be splendid, however, once again, my expectations were not met. So, it seems like it's up to you right now. Give me a reason why I should allow you to draw breath after I finish. Naruto said, looking down at Zetsu, a rather mysterious creature that has been here for a long time now. I have an opponent for you, Zetsu said. One half of his body was black while the other was white. The black part was speaking as the mouth was not moving. An opponent that is not from this world. Naruto gazed narrowed upon hearing that. Is that so? And who is this opponent? She is currently locked away. In order for you to face her, you have to take all the nine-tailed beasts. Their power is a key to her cell. Naruto's eyes could see through any deception, and he could tell that the creature was not speaking any lies to him. Naruto turned his gaze to where the one-tailed formula was. My efforts to leave this world behind and venture beyond it will be coming up soon. However, to find out about this spectacular opponent right here and now, well, I suppose I could be obliged to do that, said Naruto. Wait right here. With that, Naruto took off. Now, Zetsu has been plotting for many years. Many years. His own purpose, his own goal. The only one that he had was to bring his mother back. A powerful woman known as Kaguya Osusuke. So why would he just relinquish that information so willingly? Well, Zetsu saw things. Being the spy of the organization, Zetsu has been all over. While most people believe that son Naruto was a mere S-rank ninja, Zetsu saw with his own eyes. This wasn't the average person. Zetsu actually caught on a few years back. It was upon Naruto leaving the village, upon being framed for that crime. It caught Zetsu's interest. Luckily for Naruto, he was nearby the location. After all, he was one to always know what is going on in the Elemental Nation, always knowing about new S-rank ninjas. After all, they were always going to be a part of his goal. Zetsu heard the goal that Naruto set for himself, to fight every single strong person in this world. Since then, Zetsu has been monitoring him, watching him, and Zetsu realized two things. Naruto was not bound to anything or anyone. He did not stay one place for too long. And secondly, he wasn't a good person, nor was he a bad person. He simply do what excited him. So, for him to go after all the tail beasts was something that wouldn't be above him or below him. He would simply do it because he was destined for a good challenge. Zetsu just did not know how to approach and bargain with him. He wanted to wait until a perfect moment. However, he thought that his special ability stopped him from being sensed. However, he was wrong. While his strength was incredible, Zetsu knew that his mother was still more powerful. Yes, Naruto was blessed with abnormal strength and abnormal powers. However, his mother was a goddess, and Naruto would not stand a chance against her. However, doing what he's done for the past couple of thousand years, doing what he was best at, manipulation, as Zetsu had taken quite the knack for it. And that is exactly what he was doing to Naruto. Well, that is what he believed. Zetsu heard the commotion heading this way as he sunk underground. Over to the other area, Naruto landed. The unconscious Gaara was lying on the ground. Jiraiya had placed a seal over his, stopping him from going berserk in his slumber. Temari and Kankuro were terrified, believing that Gaara was going to lose control once again. However, to see him sleep so peacefully was a rather surprising thing. As Naruto arrived on the scene, Jiraiya snapped his head towards him, having no idea what was going on, being outside of the village parameters. What's going on? Where's Orochimaru? He's dead, said Naruto, speaking so nonchalant, despite the fact that Jiraiya was taken aback to hear that. As much as he hated the man, he spent the good part of his years searching to try and stop him for all of his crimes that he's done, feeling responsible because of the bond that they once shared as fellow Sanins. The next moment, Naruto was standing above Gaara. Jiraiya was about to say something until once again Naruto summoned that special chain. It plunged into Gaara's stomach, causing the boy to stir. The tail beast that was residing after that rather rambunctious battle, it saw the chains appearing out of nowhere. They gripped into his flesh and wrapped around his neck and started to yank. "What the hell are you doing?" Jiraiya shouted, Kankuro and Temari rushing towards their brother. The next moment though, they were all blown away as Shikaku was pulled directly out of Gaara. Not small, but he was gigantic. But the chains had grown extremely large to fit his giant neck as they held him in place. However, it was just for show. The next moment, Naruto tugged on the chain, causing Shikaku's body to squish together as a chain tightened around him. Plucking one of his hair out, Naruto blew on it. summoning one of his special pots. Strange markings written all over it. As Naruto opened it, he focused his gaze on Shikaku and held his hand out. Shikaku's body started to twist and turn. Chakra was a form of energy, as Naruto was simply manipulating it. Shikaku screamed and roared, but there was nothing that he could do. His body was pulled down into its basest form. The next moment, he started to be sucked into the pot. Once it was done and the lid closed, the markings on the pot started to glow. Before they calmed down, showing that Shikaku was trapped inside. Jiraiya and the others who were blown away by the force started to converge upon Naruto, who stood there. The Sannin was angry to what Naruto had just done. Temari and Kankuro immediately rushed to their brother. However, Gaara was not dead. The action seemed rather cruel, however. These chains are mingled with life. Granted, removing the beast from another should result in the death of the container. I should know. I was once one of those containers. However, these chains, as I said, mingle with life. They possess rather special qualities, allowing the body to accumulate to a state before the beast's place, granting the container life even after extraction. You should be grateful of my actions. I was told that Jinchurikis didn't tend to have good life. But it doesn't matter because I desire the power of them all now. You what? Said Jiraiya. I'm going to hunt down each and every Jinchuriki that walk this earth and extract the beast from them. It will bring me a good challenge that I'm looking forward to. With the recent disappointments, including yourself, I really hope that this challenge would bring me a battle that is worth my time, said Naruto. Are you mad? Said Jiraiya. Do you have any idea the repercussions? Do you have any idea what is going to happen if you choose to take a path like this? The whole world will come after you for your actions, Jiraiya said. Naruto threw his head back and laughed, laughing like he had no care in the world, which he actually did not. You say that like it's a bad thing. Let them come. It would be a good preparation for the glorious battle. My goal was to fight all the strongest that reside on this planet. And now I know that the most powerful is sealed and waiting. So I will simply skip over the tiny steps and go to the main area. If I do have some fun along the way, better for me, said Naruto. Jiraiya stood in Naruto's way. I can't allow you. I won't allow you to do this. You won't. If my memory does serve me correct, the last time we went to blows with one another, you lost. I was holding back, Jiraiya said. This time, stopping you from doing something stupid and idiotic for your own good. I won't hold back. It seems like you're overestimating your power or your strength. Let me show you that. A battle between us, taken seriously by myself, would only end one way. Naruto snapped his finger. His staff moved on its own and whack. Jiraiya with so much force. The whole place received a rather violent burst of wind. The three siblings were thrown as Jiraiya crashed in a trench. He was out like a light. Still alive, however, every single bone in his body was broken. It was a good thing that his spine had been shattered. Or the most important part, however, his ribs, arms, legs. He was a mess. With that, Naruto whistled as his cloud appeared. He jumped on top of it. He was fully able of sensing the being that he spoke to earlier. As Naruto flew, it following after him. Time skip. Utakata woke up, having blacked out after what happened. He looked at Naruto confused. What did you do to me? Naruto appeared out of nowhere and simply attacked him once again. Utakata thought that it was the same thing that happened earlier, but it was not. This time though, Utakata wasn't alone. A girl known as Hodoru, who was asking to be his student, given his trust issues from his former sensei. It wasn't a role that he took rather easily. Hodoru's eyes went wide, having been blown back from the devastation of the Six Tails being released. Sensei, she said, rushing towards his side. I told you, he said, looking towards her. He then felt the difference. What did you? I am in need of this power, said Naruto. With that, he hopped on his cloud and flew off, pretending like he did absolutely nothing. Well, it just seemed like he just did not care. He took the beast that resides inside of you, Hodoru said. Utakata was confused. He thought that was a one-way thing. If it was ever taken, he would die. But no, here he was, alive and kicking. Confusion marred his face, as he had no idea how he was still drawing breath. Naruto flew towards Kumo, as Zetsu was informing him every single location where they currently were. Naruto arrived towards the Rankyo Valley. As he was above it, Naruto dived off his cloud as he dropped like a bomb. His feet completely shook the valley as he dropped. Stepping out of his house, a dark-skinned, blonde-haired individual with glasses. His words were rather complex because he was rapping. His name was Killer B. I desire the beast inside of you. Given the past interactions, I'm hopeful that you will at least put up a fight because we have no past interactions with one another. Nor should you expect that you would survive the process. B started to rap again. However, his words mainly came out as, if you want to tussle with the bee, you're going to get stung. Naruto actually laughed, finding his way of talking rather amusing. B wasted no time as he plucked out his blades. As the A-Tail decided to inform him, do not take this one lightly. There is something about him that I just cannot place. The mere fact that he was able to come in here. That is when the guards that the Raikage had posted arrived on the scene. Naruto did not even look at them. He rushed directly towards B. B thought that his blades would hold up. However, the first two shatter upon contact with Naruto's staff. B's eyes widened as he started to move, using his extreme, reflex for a man of his size and his weapon style. However, the problem was Naruto was a master of all kind of fighting. Naruto started to do the exact same style, but much faster. He broke all of B's blade in a matter of seconds, forcing B to jump away. It seems like you were right, Eito, he said. It seems like this isn't one to play, you know? As he looked towards Naruto. Well then, if he does want the Killer Bee, we're gonna have to say we. He shot his hand into the sky as his body was enveloped by red chakra. The next moment he cleared the distance, as he was about to take Naruto's head off with his arm, but Naruto weaved underneath him, shocking the living daylight out of him. Given the speed that B moved at, it was a frightening and sobering realization. Being a perfect Jinchuriki granted him a lot of mobility as he released two tentacles from his back that blocked Naruto's staff, greatly affecting said tentacles, as the force still sent him flying into the side of the mountain. That is when all hell broke loose. All the surrounding ninjas rained hell down on him, releasing their most powerful attack, However, Naruto took a breath in and exhaled, creating a gigantic tornado with simply a breath. Their bodies were sucked inside. The entire West Mountain was torn apart, pulled inside as well, causing catastrophic destruction. Luckily though, one of them had already made their way off to report this in. Realizing the severe threat that he was actually facing, B went all out and transformed. Upon transforming, his fists raised up a large structure and launched it towards Naruto. Naruto flipped and landed on it as he ran. Kicking off it, he jumped to another and leaped. Naruto brought his staff down and used it as a leverage. He thrust himself forward and punched the giant octopus right off the cliff. Naruto held his hand out as his staff reappeared. He thrust it as it slammed into the massive octopus stomach, crashing it down. It seems like B was in luck. Heading to his location earlier was the other Jinchuriki, who usually trained at this time to keep her strength in check. She saw what was going on, seeing the severity of the situation she made, and waste no time. A blue, massive cat descended upon Naruto. Its paw crushed him. However, the thing's eyes widened as Naruto lifted. He gripped onto the flaming chakra like it was nothing as he started to twirl, causing it to swing with him. Naruto then launched it straight down the mountain as well. An idea then came to mind as Naruto jumped. The cat landed nearby as B got up. Before they could even strike a conversation, the entire mountain started to move. Yes, the entire mountain. Naruto lifted the goddamn mountain up. He was not a giant or anything, he simply lifted the mountain. And even while holding on to the mountain, his speed was immaculate. The two beasts were hit with a goddamn mountain debris, going every single location around. Naruto landed a distance off, looking at his work. The both of them got back up, showing fatigue and damage. They look towards each other as they start to hold their mouth up together, forming together a super massive tail beast bomb. Given the location that Naruto stood away from the village, there was no need for them to hold back as they launched it. Naruto's eyes widened in delight as he could feel the greater power in this one than the one that he had when he faced off against the Three Tails. Naruto thrust forward, heading towards destruction itself. The staff in his hand started to tremble, along with his excitement. In seconds, the staff was larger than 3 mountains combined, glowing with unbelievable power. When Naruto brought it down, when the 2 attacks hit, the Raikage, who was blazing towards the scene, had to stop. A shockwave unlike any other. It wiped out several mountains in the area. It caused catastrophic destruction down below on the land of lightning. Buildings breaking and collapsing in on itself. People dying. The mountains splitting apart and falling down. Luckily, ninjas were there, as they start to use their techniques to stop the debris, to save life. It was pure chaos. The Raikage did not allow that to stop him, as he blazed into the backlash, tearing through it. Upon arriving though, he saw 3 things. One of them was his brother. The other was Yujito. Both of them unmoving on the ground. In front of them was the perpetrator. Immediately, he powered up to 100% as he went in with a lariat. However, Naruto turned and did the exact same thing. Their arms clashed together, creating friction as the Raikage was thrown back, unable to stand up to the might that Naruto possessed. I'm in a charitable mood, not to mention I'm on the clock, so I can't afford to fight you right here and now. Besides, I'm skipping right ahead to the final boss. But you don't have to worry, I was satisfied. These two brought me great entertainment. I can only imagine the great strength that lies beyond. Naruto jumped on his cloud as the Raikage leaped towards him, rage coursing through him. I told you, I shall spare you the humiliation of losing to me, and yet, you still want to fight. It seems the more I go, the more my name is skyrocketing through the ages. Soon enough, all enemies, all heroes, everyone will want to go up against me. The thought of that is truly exciting. However, I must see this goddess. I must know the power that she wields, said Naruto. Given their proximity to the clouds, Naruto held his hand up, showing his master over the goddamn weather. As he pulled the rain down, the water surrounded the Raikage. Before the density increased to abnormal levels, the Raikage crashed through the mountain that was remaining. The water being so heavy that his body did not stop until he was at the very end. As Naruto blazed off, heading towards his next destination. Time skip at the Hidden Leaf. The village was just recovering after the attack, only to receive some rather dire news. Jiraiya informing Hiruzen of Naruto's plan. However, they had no idea that they were already too late. The whole world wasn't aware of the quick movement that Naruto was moving at. You see, for many people it might take years of planning, hard work. However, Naruto was doing all of this in 4 hours. His cloud was able to go at speeds that traverse everything that any ninja could move at. It wouldn't take him days or hours to reach to any other village. Moments, as he sped through the heavens at blinding speed. Speaking of, the massive fists of the Four Tails came raining down as Naruto slammed his fist upwards. Both of their fists connected rather violently, creating miniature shockwaves. The next moment, Naruto was hit by the dolphin horse. As he was launched back, the Four Tail released a massive explosion of lava from underneath Naruto. The flames consumed him. However, his resistance to flames was so insanely high, he burst out of it, dripping from the lava. As Naruto got 1,000 arms, changing his own genetics, having 1,000 arms as he leaped. The mighty dolphin horse tried to back away, but his speed traversed it. It was hit 1,000 times in a second. The thing stepped back, dazzled, confused. The same happened for the Four Tails. Naruto grabbed each of their tails as he swung them around, whipping them across the heavens before he launched them into the sky. Summoning the chains once again, the chains shot out as it ripped into their physical form and plucked them from their hosts. The body of Han and Roshi though, the Jinchurikis, they were falling from a great height. However, Naruto did not seem to be concerned about that. As stated many times, he wasn't a good, nor was he a bad person. He just did what he pleased, because that is the way he saw things. That is the way he saw everything. It was late that Oniki and his forces were arriving, as the battle was already over. Naruto took off. Time skip. Zetsu was shocked. Yes, completely. Words couldn't describe the shock that he was going through. He knew that with this great adversary under his control, he could freeze Mother much sooner, but this was not something that he expected one bit. I brought you all of these beasts now. Show me how to free the goddess, said Naruto, as he was sure that Zetsu was not lying because his eyes could see through lies and deception. Zetsu was giddy, however he kept himself under control. "There is something else that we need," he said. "And also, in order to free her, you need a special pair of eyes." "My eyes are the most powerful in this world," said Naruto. "I won't doubt you there after what I've seen, however, it's not about the kind of eyes that you have. The seal was specially created by someone that had eyes that resemble only one that has seen in this world before. However, there is someone else that was able to awaken these eyes. Point me to the direction, and I shall obtain these eyes," said Naruto. "We will have to transplant them into your sockets." "Oh, there is no need for that," said Naruto. "Wait, what do you mean?" said Zetsu, confused by that. "Just point me towards the direction. I intend to fight this goddess very soon." Zetsu did as he was told. Some time later, blazing towards the village. The moment Naruto arrived, Nagato felt overwhelmed. The moment the rain made contact with Naruto's skin, Naruto's gaze looked around before. He peered directly into Nagato's eyes from where he was. His words, while soft, reached Nagato's ears. It bounced off the rain, linking to his chakra. "I can see you," said Naruto. Naruto bent his knees. He lowered himself into a running form. However, when he took off, he jumped. He jumped in a rather awkward position, but he did jump. His body tore directly through solid steel, like it was nothing. As Naruto was within the tallest tower, Konan, witnessing the explosion down below, moved off at her fastest as she descended to go and help Nagato. However, as she entered the room, the opponent that she saw, it actually frightened her. Recollection of Kisame being squashed came back. The group had recently had a meeting revolving this person, as they were told to all stay back, that he was going to be the one that handled this one, because none of them was actually up to the task. They would all die. It was just plain and simple. However, showing one of his transformations, Naruto had 72 in a sense. There was more. However, the word transformation is a rather complicated word in this matter. It didn't literally mean transforming into something or someone. There were 72 things that he could do. Most of them mimic skill or spell, like controlling the weather. He was waterproof. Augmenting his strength, he could call the rain. He could call the sun. Freely move in water. Cover the sun, meaning an eclipse. He could ride the wind and ride the clouds. He could change his size and change other people's size. He could have his soul leave his body. He could walk on water. Invisibility. Live without a head. Move things with his mind. Dream control. Calling his cloud. Splitting body into pieces. Stopping water flow. Pushing away bad luck. There were things that he could do that were shocking. Augmenting himself to very special degrees. There were people in this world can simply transform into another. However, when he transforms, he doesn't only transform, he gains what the other person has. And he can only transform just a part of his body. Naruto's eyes mimic the Rinnegan, gaining the grasp and powers over them, able to see them all with just a gaze, once again showing the special eyes that he possessed. The next moment he started to walk away. However, Konan papers came towards him. Naruto held his hand out, using the almighty push. However, given his augmented powers, in his hand the Rinnegan was like 1,000 times stronger. The entire place crumbled. Luckily though, Nagato used his own to shield the both of them. creating a gravity force that protected them from the blast. Purely, as the mightiest tower collapsed, using super speed to make his way down below. Naruto found the great statue as Zetsu emerged. Zetsu was shaking with anticipation. So close, so close. Naruto started to open the pots, feeding the Gedo statue. As it started to absorb all of the tail beasts, one after another, Nagato realized the severity of the situation, decided to call in someone. The rings were used as transmitters, as he was able to summon the one that helped him start all of this. Appearing in a swirling vortex, Zetsu, what the hell is going on? The person was none other than the masked man, the man that was claiming to be Madara Uchiha, the one behind the scenes. Now Zetsu said, "Take that power and free her." Naruto absorbed the Gedo statue, siphoning it into himself. That is when Zetsu lashed himself onto Naruto's back and took control of Naruto. There were still many things that had to be done. He had to bring the Ten-Tail back and use the roots to siphon the chakra from the people of the earth to bring his mother back. However, Zetsu was shocked beyond his wildest imagination as he felt enough power to break his mother free. And it wasn't even the beast. It was the power flowing through Son Naruto. Yes, the tail beasts were connected toward the seal that was used to lock his mother away. And it was the same thing that could free her, but he did not need the people of the elemental nation. He didn't believe it. It was time. Releasing that power, Naruto's body started to change, becoming more feminine as a white clothing and long white hair stretched out. And the eyes of the rabbit goddess, the once powerful damning queen, opened up to the world as Zetsu attached himself to her hand. "Mother," he said. She looked around, her gaze surveying the area. As she checked, the first thing she asked, "Where is the tree?" she said. "My plans went different than I thought, Mother," Zetsu said, his tone respectful as he spoke to her. "However, you're back now. You can do all of this and more." Kaguya was about to say something until she started to squirm and twist. Suddenly a hand burst through her chest. Kaguya screamed as her chest ripped open as Naruto jumped through. Being rather small, around the size of a 10-year-old, upon landing Naruto started to grow back to his normal size. As he cracked his neck, How? Said Zetsu. "How are you? Alive?" Naruto said, looking at him calmly. "I told you I could see through deception. I could tell that your final words to me was lies, but there was some truth in it. However, it didn't matter what you do. I knew that you could never bind or hold me. Therefore, I allowed you to access your conquests, making you believe that you won. However, in reality, this was all my doing. Did you really think that you could take control of me? Are you that idiotic and stupid? Even after witnessing the power I wield, I must say, I'm disappointed by your stupid mind that you could ever control what I am. However, my plan seemed to work, and now she's here. I can tell that you are the strongest that I've ever seen on this planet. I can feel your power from here, and it's rising and rising. My divine energy was what was used to bring you back in this world, and now that power is coursing through your veins, making your power even grow beyond their normal rate of ascension. It would be an immaculate battle between the both of us, and this will be our fighting grounds, where you shall give me your all and I shall give you what I deem you are worthy of, if you excite me enough." Kaguya landed on her feet. "What are you?" she said. her eyes looking at him very curiously. What am I? Unfortunately, I cannot give you an answer to that, because as of this moment I do not correctly know. However, what you need to know is, my name is Son Naruto, and I am your opponent. Kaguya has never seen something like this. She has seen many powerful beings. She was from a literal clan with godly beings that were revered as God through the entire universe. However, as her immaculate eyes gaze upon this person, this being in front of her, he wasn't human. He wasn't a Osusuki yet. He was right. She could feel his power in her veins. Their bodies were linked a moment ago, but somehow he shattered that link. But not only that, he kept her into this world, transferring every single power of the tailed beasts and a portion of his to her, to keep her bound here, giving her advantage. No. His power was not even budging. Despite what he did, it did not even diminish slightly. She could feel his power from here. It's been a very long time since Kaguya has been locked away, and a long time since anyone had brought her. This fascinated feeling that she was now feeling, she didn't know why, but she truly wished to see the depths of his strength. Perhaps it was a part of his power that brought her back to this world, that gave her this rush. But mostly it was him. He was a being that fascinated her. Being from a clan that pride themselves on always being the strongest, seeing other races as animals, weaklings. This brought her something that she never found when she came to this planet. While she wasn't a violent person, the power excited her. Zetsu could feel his mother's excitement, something that he didn't expect at all. But not just that, Naruto's as well. Kaguya power started to skyrocket, causing catastrophic destruction for the land of rain. A golden aura started to appear around Naruto, as the both of them were ignoring everything. The masked man, the leader of the organization, everything. This is the most excited Naruto has ever been in his entire life, as the two godly beings dash towards one another. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see next part and do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. But I'm off now. See you guys soon. Peace.